NewsChannel 5 Network. This is Open Line.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Open Line. Glad you are with us tonight. It is July 15th, Wednesday, July 15th. That is the new tax day. You know, it was April 15th. Now it was pushed back to July 15th. So it's completely appropriate that tonight we are talking about the property tax increase here in Nashville, Tennessee. So the Metro Council, the mayor, we are going to have a 34% property tax increase that will go into effect this year. That's what the council approved. There are some groups that are very upset by that. One group is calling for the people who voted for it to be recalled. They are pushing for a recall of city leaders that voted for that property tax increase. And that a member from that organization is who we are going to interview tonight, once again, via Zoom. Happy to have with us Michelle Foreman, the coordinator, spokesperson for No Tax for Nashville. So, Michelle, thank you for being here.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
So, again, via Zoom, we appreciate that. All right, No Tax for Nashville. What is No Tax for Nashville? How did you come about? How are you funded? Kind of give us the information on No Tax for Nashville.
Sure. We actually started out as a group of about 5 or 6 people around a kitchen table, and we saw what was happening with a potential proposed property tax increase by the mayor. At that time, it was 32%. And we, along with many other people in Nashville, knew we had just come through a tornado. Obviously, we all knew that. And then COVID-19, and people were without jobs, and they couldn't go back to work. You know, we were just kind of in a standstill. We could not earn a living. And so we sat down and we thought, wait a minute, as opposed to saddling us with an additional 32% property tax increase, we've got to come up with some other ways that we can cut spending. We are a local government who has always been plagued with poor spending, or at least in the past 15 years. So we know that Nashville brings in money that we're just not spending wisely. We're not doing it properly. We all know that. So we sat around the kitchen table and we said, we're going to have to speak out and do something. And so we had a meeting with Mayor Cooper, and we pointed out, and there were several organizations that went through, combed through the budget and said, hey, here's where we can make some cuts. They're not all cuts that we love or even like, but as opposed to saddling people with an additional 32% property tax increase who are unemployed, we can go ahead and make these cuts and put these spending, just put the spending on hold for about a year. Now, we're talking about asking local government to make furloughs 1 day a week for 1 month. That's just 4 days. And it's not a big ask considering so many people, again, had no job. But that wasn't, I think the words were the optics. It was optics. The optics didn't look good. But we also proposed to the mayor when we sat down and spoke with him, we said, it looks like the increased sales tax, the sales tax that Nashville is bringing in, it looks like it's going to be more than what's projected. Let's use that increase and kind of bring this proposed property tax down. So the people around the kitchen table that met with the mayor presented this information to him, and he agreed. He agreed that we could go from a 32% property tax increase. We could make some cuts. We could put sidewalks and bike lanes and landscaping projects on hold for a year. We could make those cuts and bring the tax increase down. But he didn't want to do it. He just did not want to do that. So it got to the point where we said, if we're going to go down this route and you're going to assess us with a property tax that we can't afford, actually, some can afford it, but there are others who cannot. We know they can't. We know they're going to lose their homes. They're having a hard enough time feeding their kids, paying the bills that they have. If you're going to go down this road and hurt these people further, hurt Davidson County residents further, then we're going to have to look at a recall, because we're going to have to step in and do something. So that's how we got the ball rolling.
That's where you are right now. So you are actively working to recall. You're actively working to recall the mayor and all the council members who voted for this. Is that right?
That's right. And this wasn't, it wasn't a sucker punch. We gave them plenty of notice. We tried to work with every council member in some capacity, certainly with the mayor. But they were, as a matter of fact, when I sent an email out from NoTaxfNash, no one responded to it. Not one council member responded to it. Again, we're giving them ideas and ways that they can cut the budget, at least some, bringing a property tax increase down into the teens. No one responded, no one was interested. And so really, this is indicative of local government that does not listen to the people. They're not interested in doing what is best for the people.
So how are you funded? Where do you get funding for No Tax for Nashville?
That's a great question. The 5 or 6 people that I told you about that were sitting around the kitchen table, we dug into our own pockets, and we initially funded No Tax for Nash. Again, our own money. My money, several other people. And then what we had after the fact, maybe about a month or so after we got into this, is we started having small donations come in, about $25 here, $50 there. But as far as large corporate sponsors, no. We don't have any of that. We are a true grassroots organization where people have donated. I got a $5 donation today with a petition, $5. So that's who we are. Those are the kinds of people that we have brought into this movement.
It may seem like a long shot that you would get them recalled. Do you feel like it's a long shot? What do you need to accomplish? I mean, how many signatures do you need? What is the process? And do you feel like it's a long shot that you would get the mayor or those who voted for this recalled?
That's a really good question. So in order to recall, our Metro Charter says that we need 15% of the registered voters in Davidson County to recall the mayor and the council members at large. So since we have about 450 some odd thousand registered voters, we need about 70,000 to sign this petition. We need their signatures. As far as the individual council districts, we need 15% of the registered voters in those districts. That could range anywhere from 1,000 signatures up to 2,700. Just kind of depends. Is it a long shot? Maybe in normal times, it might be a long shot. But when you have people who are so angry and they feel kicked in the gut, they don't have jobs, they feel like the mayor is keeping them from working, and he is. Between the mayor and the health department, they can't work. It's not hard to get people to come up to a petition signing location and sign. It's not hard for them to vent and voice their anger, and it's not hard to get them to bring petitions that have even 10 signatures on them or even 30.
And you must get those signatures by when? What is your deadline?
When we filed, we had 30 days to get these signatures, and that the 30 days will be up on Monday. We need to turn those into the clerk's office by close of business on Monday. So where we are now, as far as I sat and was counting signatures all day today. We have thousands and thousands of signatures. What we don't know is what is outstanding. We know that of the outstanding petitions that have been downloaded from the website, if they come back to us and they have 10 signatures on them, then we have enough signatures for a recall. That we have that. Will they come back with 1 signature, 10, 15? That we don't know because they're still outstanding. We expect to get the rest of those in, obviously, this weekend, Sunday at the latest, and that's what we're calling for at this point. But to your point, or to your question, is it difficult? No. I think the messaging, and when you get this message out to the people who are already desperate and they're looking for something, no, it's not been hard to get signatures.
So the deadline is Monday. You have to have the signatures turned in by Monday. And again, you're looking to recall everyone who voted for the property tax increase. So that's a majority of council members and the mayor. So there's probably some council members maybe where, I don't know, do you have enough signatures for every single council member and the mayor? Or let's start with the mayor. Do you think you'll have enough signatures to recall the mayor, I guess, the number that you mentioned?
Right, 68,000 and some odd. Again, the people who have downloaded the petitions and they're outstanding, if they come back in with at least 10 signatures on them, then yes, we will have enough signatures. Okay. Till those come in, it's hard to tell. That's what we've been trying to tell people. Get 10, get 10. If you get 10, this is over. So we'll see. And then again, because the threshold of signatures is so much lower for the individual council members, if they then download those petitions and mail them back in, then yes. So the question then becomes, what are people going to do with those outstanding petitions? I'd like to know that too, and we will find out soon.
And let's say you get enough. Let's say people download the petitions, they fill them out, you get all the signatures you need to recall the mayor, and it's even approved, because the next step is they have to be approved as registered voters, right. And that's something that's a kind of a tough hurdle sometimes for organizations to pass. Sometimes they're not filled out properly, whatever. But let's assume everything is filled out properly, and you meet this threshold. What then happens?
That triggers a recall election. And so the Election Commission has 90 days to schedule a recall election and to conduct the recall election. Now, these people recalled can run for this seat again, but we've had people step up, those that are known, both known and well respected in Nashville, both by Democrats, independents, Republicans, that know that they may have to step in and run. So again, we've reached out to people that could potentially do that for the mayor's office, the council people at large, and then of course the district councilman. Whether they will do that or not, we'll see. No one wants to really say anything about whether they're going to do that unless there's a recall. No one really wants to stick their neck out at this point, and that's understandable. But that's how that works.
And so, okay, let's again assume everything goes as you're hoping, and I said I think it would be a long shot. I think you even acknowledged that it might be a long shot. But let's say there's a recall election and there's a new mayor. Isn't the new mayor bound by this property tax increase? I mean, he's bound by the budget that was passed by the last council. I mean, what could realistically be done to change this, even if you were to recall the mayor?
We could have a charter amendment, and actually there is another petition that circulates, which is for a charter amendment. And that would entail, we've got a property tax increase that's over 2%, then that would go to a vote. So the people would be able to vote on that going forward.
And there are plenty of people who say this is a crisis budget. Nobody wanted this property tax increase. Mm-hmm. We are in unprecedented, unusual times, no doubt about it. Right. There has not been a property tax increase in a long time. That's a fact. And then we put on top of that this government shutdown, and people seem to understand that we're going to have to raise taxes. There's a situation where we have to raise taxes. Do you feel like that's true? I mean, do you feel like we have to raise taxes some? You're just upset by the amount, or you say no tax increase at all?
No tax for Nash is actually just that, no tax. Now, again, we went through the budget and found enough cuts to eliminate a property tax increase. They're not all popular. But what we could do, if we wanted to meet in the middle somewhere, we proposed this to the mayor. Again, the sales tax. We looked to see what was coming into Nashville, what was proposed, what was budgeted, what did we actually receive. We told the mayor that it looks like at the rate that we're going, Nashville's probably going to be over projections of our sales tax by about $70 to $80 million. We just got final numbers in to show that we are $67 million above what was projected. So for that reason, not to apply $67 million to a property tax increase, that's just unconscionable. That should have and could have been done, and it wasn't.
But so, I think, again, wasn't there concern about where we're going? I mean, we don't know if we're going to have to re-shut everything down again, and so it might be prudent to have a little extra there. And I believe there is a provision in the budget that would allow the property tax increase to be adjusted. Am I right? And I should maybe ask someone else, but Pat Nolan was sending me some information. I believe there is, the finance director could adjust the rate if their revenues show that would be possible by August 15th. The only thing is, we don't know what's going to happen. So would it be prudent to say, wow, there's a little extra money over here, let's just not do the property tax increase, and then lo and behold, in 2 months, everything falls apart again? So I guess that would be...
No, and here's why.
Go ahead.
No, and here's why. First of all, we don't need to keep people from going back to work. That's the worst decision that this mayor could make. We need to work. People need to work. They need to be able to pay their bills. You don't stop people from working just because we have a virus, which, by the way, has a mortality rate of far less than 1%. Now, again, not that I want to go down that path, but no, you don't keep people from working. Now, if you need a little bit of extra money, you go into the budget and you make cuts. We don't need bike lanes right now. We don't need sidewalks right now. We don't need to do landscaping projects right now. So for this year, in these unprecedented times, we need to make budget cuts, not keep people from working, and not applying money that we have to reduce a proposed property tax increase, if that is what we have to have.
So is this about more than just the property tax increase then? Is this also about the measures taken, I guess, to stem the flow of the virus? I mean, do you disagree with some of the measures being taken to stop the spread of the virus? Is that also what this is about?
No, what we see is that measures can be taken to stop the spread of the virus without closing businesses. That should be something that's common sense. We know that we can work. Obviously, we're doing it now, wearing masks. There are measures that can be taken, and we don't need to affect people's ability to pay their bills. We know we can do that, but that just hasn't been the choice, and it's been a poor choice. And we really need to readjust the thinking in Metro Nashville. If we go back to a phase one, I'm not sure how Nashville could recover. I really think at this point, Nashville would need to go into some sort of receivership, whether that's the state, whether that's another agency coming in and taking a look at how we can restructure contracts and deals and things of that nature. But Nashville's not going to recover, I don't think, if we go back and tell people they can't go back to work, if we go back to a phase one situation.
So you said this was started by some people around a table. Were any of the people around the table some of the business owners down on 2nd Avenue? Were they people that own businesses down there and are concerned by some of the things you're talking about?
No, actually, they were not. No, we did have a business owner, a restaurant, and probably a restaurant owner, not down on 2nd Avenue, but we kind of springboarded off of what was happening with Kerry Bringle and Pegleg Porker and his open letter, which was, it was incredibly not only touching, but it was gut-wrenching. And we saw what was happening to these businesses who were going to end up paying tens of thousands of dollars more in property tax, and they're closed. Their bartenders can't work, their servers can't work, their dishwashers can't work, they can't pay their bills. We thought, wait a minute, we need to step in and see if we can provide some sort of support, maybe some sort of relief, maybe some sort of voice and action. We had one business owner, not 2nd Avenue, but one restaurant business owner. We had some other business owners, a bankruptcy restructuring specialist, some healthcare providers. I'm a registered nurse. But no, we didn't have anyone from 2nd Avenue.
I know that Metro employees would be very concerned by what you're talking about. There are obviously a lot of Metro employees here. They've been promised pay raises when the economy was good, and those never happened. And now here we are in this, very difficult situation. And of course, here's where we are. And what you would be talking about, you mentioned furloughs. There would probably have to be layoffs. And I think furloughs are even a difficult thing for Metro government to do. But even if they can do furloughs, you're talking about furloughs, taking money away from their overall paychecks. Likely there would be layoffs. Do you agree with that? I mean, is there any way to do what you're doing without mass layoffs of Metro workers?
Sure. And Metro workers have every right to be angry. We have so many on the council who have promised so many things, and mayoral administrations who have promised so many things, and they've not done what they said they were going to do. They have every right to be angry, those Metro employees. The Metro employees that I've spoken with would gladly give up 4 days if it meant we did not have to pay an increased property tax. You have to consider these Metro employees, if they do live in Metro Davidson County, they're going to get hit harder with the tax increase. And one thing that I said is, look, we're either in this together or we're not. We're Nashville strong or we're not. We're talking about people who have lost their income, some of them permanently. So to ask a Metro employee to be furloughed for 4 days, I believe it's only about 1 month, and that would generate about $40 million. I've not found one Metro employee that said, you know what, I'm not going to do that. Nobody wants to ask that. But again, remember, we didn't have to be here. We've had poor leadership in local government for at least 3 or 4 administrations. So if Metro employees are going to be upset, and I totally understand, we've gotten here by a system of poor spending, not caring where the money goes, not being judicious, just not being wise with money. We're going to have to be wise with money now because, again, the majority of the taxpayers have been affected. They either are still not working or they're not working the way that they used to. And again, we're looking at that maybe coming up to the fall.
Yeah. All right, let's take some calls. Let's go to Chris here. Chris, who is on line 1. Hello, Chris.
Hey, how you doing today?
Fine. So what's on your mind?
Man, I just happened to turn it on Channel 5, and this conversation is a conversation that we've been having, a lot of people that I know. And like I said, I voted for Cooper, but he will never, ever get my vote again. I think it is preposterous that he would raise property taxes at a time when people are losing their homes. It's ridiculous. I don't understand. The gas prices a few months back were lowest as they've ever been. Not ever, but they were very low. I don't understand why he wouldn't raise the tax on gas. Everybody still has to drive as opposed to raising property taxes.
Well, now Metro can't raise the price on gas. That would be a state.
I didn't say the gas. What? They can't raise the tax on gases.
They can't raise not a gasoline tax. Now they can do a sales tax, but no, the state can do that. The federal government can do that. So all right. So Metro has shut down essentially. There's no money coming in as a result of COVID. So do you understand why there might be a need to bring in more money? Do you understand that?
I understand that there's a need to bring in more money, but you want to bring in money from somewhere that is losing money? Can you explain that to me?
So you're absolutely opposed to this. So it sounds like you agree with no tax for Nashville.
No, I don't agree with no tax, but if whoever decided to raise the property tax can decide to raise a tax somewhere else, is what I'm saying.
Okay, so you say look somewhere else to raise the money. All right, well, all right, let's ask about that. All right, so we threw out gasoline. I don't think you can raise. Metro can't do that. But what do you think about that? You're no tax for Nashville. Is there some other tax that would be something you might be more open to?
Absolutely. And let me clarify, no tax for Nash is no property tax increase because we did not have to have that. But the caller made a really good point. Raising sales tax, absolutely. We all can take part in that. We can decide whether we buy groceries in Davidson County. We can decide whether we go buy a cheeseburger, a beer. We have that authority and decision making of ourselves to make those choices. Absolutely. And something else I was thinking of when you're talking about financially, you can't bleed a turnip, right? Think about folks in neighborhoods who cannot pay this, being on a fixed income. We see so much gentrification right now. We see so much abuse of taxpayers and homeowners, and we know that when they lose their homes, who knows how many people are waiting to come in, take those homes, bulldoze those homes and build tall and skinnies. And hey, I've got nothing against a tall and skinny. Some of them are really nice, but you cannot take someone's home because you can't balance your budget. And we don't have to have now a 34% property tax increase because remember, it's Councilman Bob Mendez who brought forth that preposterous amount. It's horrific and it's abuse. It's abuse of the taxpayers to not do better with our money.
All right, we have to take a break. We now have several calls. So if you're on the line, hold on, and we will get to your call right when we come back. I will just start going through the calls. So if you want to call in, a couple lines open, 615, there's the number, 615-737-PLUS, 615-737-7587. Take a break. Be back right after this.